Somewhere in the Kalahari desert right now, someone is kneeling in the sand, sucking water straight out of the ground through a hollowed-out reed. No pump, no filter, no plastic bottle. Just a hole, a straw, and a trick their ancestors figured out tens of thousands of years ago. And here's the part that should bother you a little. It still works better than half the water bottles sitting in your kitchen cupboard right now. You can go about 3 weeks without food. You'll be miserable, but you'll survive. Water? You get maybe 3 days. That's it. So for almost all of human history, water wasn't a nice to have. It was the ticking clock on every single journey anyone ever took, which raises a pretty big problem. If you wanted to walk out of Africa, cross a desert, or just visit the next valley over, you needed water with you, and there was no such thing as a bottle. No plastic, no metal canteen, nothing. So how did people actually do it? Turns out, the answer is way weirder and way smarter than you'd think. The very first strategy wasn't a container at all. It was routing. Early humans just stuck close to rivers, springs, and water holes, planning their entire lives around where the water already was. Simple, effective, also extremely limiting, because the second you wandered off that path, you were on borrowed time. So eventually, somebody had to solve the actual problem. How do you bring the water with you? First solution was gross, honestly, but it worked. Hunters started using the skins and bladders of animals they'd already killed. Empty the bladder, clean it out, fill it with water, and you've basically built the world's first water bottle out of spare parts. We don't have the very first one. Organic material like that just doesn't survive tens of thousands of years in the dirt. But we do have some of the earliest pictures of it, carved by the ancient Assyrians around 3000 BC, showing people using inflated skins to float across rivers and to carry water. So this trick was already old news by the time anyone thought to draw it. But skins have a problem. Untreated animal skin cracks, it leaks, and after a day or two in the sun, your water starts tasting like, well, the inside of an animal. Great for short trips, terrible for anything long-term. So somebody needed a container that wouldn't fall apart or start tasting like regret. Which brings us to one of the strangest survival tools in human history, the egg. At a rock shelter called Diepkloof in South Africa, archaeologists found something incredible: ostrich eggshells, roughly 60,000 years old, each one holding about a liter of liquid, hollowed out, sealed, and used as canteens. But here's the part that actually blew my mind. These eggs weren't plain. People carved geometric patterns into them, lines, angles, repeating shapes. Researchers think it wasn't decoration, it was ownership. Basically, ancient people were writing their names on their water bottles 60,000 years before anyone invented a Sharpie. And this isn't some dead technique lost to history. Modern sand bushmen in the Kalahari still make and use ostrich egg canteens today, exactly the same way. That's not ancient history, that's Tuesday for some people. Okay, but water is heavy. How far could this actually get you? A liter of water weighs about a kilogram. In desert heat, a person needs several liters a day just to function. So no matter how clever your container is, there's a hard ceiling. You can only carry so much before the water itself becomes the thing slowing you down. Which means, eventually, everyone hits the same terrifying moment. The container runs dry, and you're nowhere near a river. So what do you do when the water runs out? This is where it gets genuinely wild. The sand people of the Kalahari developed something called a sip well. You dig a hole down to damp sand, pack it with dry grass, push a hollow reed into the middle, then backfill the hole to create a vacuum. Then, you suck hard, and moisture trapped in the sand actually gets pulled up through the reed. They didn't need a map to find water in one of the driest places on Earth. The map was memorized, passed down generation after generation, along with buried caches of water-filled ostrich eggs hidden at exact locations across their territory. An underground water network with no GPS required. Think about that for a second. No satellites, no apps, no little blue dot telling them where they were. Just a mental map of a desert, handed down through story and practice, precise enough to mean the difference between living and not. Around 12,000 years ago in southern Africa, people domesticated the bottle gourd. And it's almost cheating because the plant grows into a shape that's already hollow, already lightweight, and already waterproof once it dries out. No kiln, no forge, just a plant doing the design work for you. And these things traveled. Genetic evidence shows bottle gourds reached the Americas roughly 10,000 years ago, possibly just drifting across the ocean on currents before anyone even planted them on purpose. Your average garden vegetable accidentally sailing across the Atlantic before humans figured out how to build a proper boat. Then came the upgrade that changed everything: pottery. The oldest pottery we've ever found comes from Xianlendong Cave in China, dated to around 20,000 years ago, although that early stuff was mostly for cooking, not storage. The real leap for water specifically came later, once early farming settlements started building large, sealed clay jars. For the first time, humans weren't just carrying a day's water, they were stockpiling it, storing surplus. And that one change quietly rewired everything. Once you don't have to chase the river anymore, you can stay put, build a house, build a village, build a city. So, line it all up. Animal skins, engraved eggshells, sip wells sucked out of damp sand, gourds that grew their own bottle shape, clay jars that let entire villages stop chasing rivers. That's the actual lineage of the water bottle sitting next to you right now. 60,000 years of trial, error, and pure stubborn survival, compressed into something you refill without thinking twice. You just don't have to know where the sip wells are anymore.